6, we should just start.
We're going to go ahead and start the recording, and at some point we'll turn it off and finish the assignment. And then when it's done, and we're all done, I'll send out the assignment, or I save it into a YouTube, and I'll send that link out for all of you to be able to go through. Now, just a little bit about this view. Are you becoming comfortable with all of these tabs? You see how you have your modules. You can get questions to the instructor right here, or every time you open a discussion, you go to the discussions. Right here are questions to the instructor, so you can post a question there and we will answer it within 24 hours. If it's on a weekend, 48 hours. So announcements are something we give you every week. And here's mine so far. We just did one for Memorial Day. And the modules, are they making sense? Anybody have any questions about how to navigate the course?
No.
No, I'm pretty familiar.
Okay. You understand this avoiding plagiarisms is a module that you go through. It's an atomic learning, right? Yeah. So you get in and you do it, and then you get credit for it. And those are just...
That was my question. It doesn't have any points. So on like week 2 on the Word intro training, I did all of those quizzes, but it doesn't have any points. Are you grading those?
No, Megan. That's your self-learning thing. We're not grading it, but where it comes into play is when you do your assignment, and then we grade the assignment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because after the week 1 assignment, some of you hadn't done the training and so weren't as versed on what was required, and so you turned in things that didn't allow you to get all the points.
Okay.
While we're just doing this introductory period, one thing I've noticed, and it takes a while to get everything, under your belt, but you guys are making progress. I can see it every week. The one thing I noticed when I did your flyers, which in general were very nice, a lot of you did not read the lecture. So when you went to answer the question about the principle, the core principle, you would give me something about the essentials or something about, some values. But it was right in the lecture where the core principles were listed. So when you do your assignments, read your lectures first, because a lot of times there's information in there that will help you with your assignment. So I just wanted to mention that because I noticed it.
So in the lecture, for instance, this week, there was a lot of information that and I don't know if you noticed you can do this, but I can't read just that little box. I have to have more to read.
Yeah.
So if you look at the lecture and you have time to do these, you take the time to do these, it becomes, the information stays with you a little easier. And so here we go into our APA. And these are the, kind of the bulleted things that you want to keep track of. Now we have this APA style tutorials and help, and it's also on your pages tab over here. So if you go down the road, you can't remember what assignment it was in, they're always right here, these references. This table right here might be a good thing to print out and put it in your APA book, because sometimes these are the most common things you're going to have to do, and it tells you the page number to find it. And then it goes on, it talks about plagiarism, self-plagiarism, and if you read the work, then and you read the work before you do your postings, then you're a step ahead. I'm hearing people talking, but not to me.
Somebody's got something in the background. That, yeah, I think.
Okay.
Shall we get started on the assignment then? Or are there any other questions?
Can kind of follow along. We're going to read this document, and we're going to look at the in-text citations and the parenthetical citations. All right, that's my phone. My husband's supposed to get it.
That's the Word document, or should we take time right now to copy and paste it to a Word document and fill it out as we work on the assignment?
You're more than welcome to do that.
Okay.
Well, actually, yeah, you can do that. The other thing we can do is when we're through, I'll take notes, and when we're through, we'll send out the email you. We'll get your email addresses and send it. People who were here email you the completed assignment.
And then we can just use that to turn that in?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So in reality, we're doing the assignment right now, and we're
Yes.
getting credit for it.
Right.
And
Okay.
we just participate and help find stuff in the book and...
Right.
So, but let me remind you, though, that because you're at the conference, you are privileged to have all the answers. So I would recommend that you not share those with your buddies. They'll get the beginning of the conference, and then they can do the rest of the assignment on their own. So
got
I encourage you not to be good Samaritans and share your work. Let them do some of the process so that they learn too, okay?
Okay.
It's not
Sounds good.
just we don't want anyone not to learn. So normally what we do is we start off with the first example, rather than read the whole thing. We start with the first example. If you look in the importance of mastering scholarly writing, which is halfway down, citation number 1 says Schatzer, Wolf, with an ampersand, Ravnik, 2010. You see that?
Huh?
Highlighted in green. Yes.
What? Yep, everybody sees it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lisa, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, okay, I didn't know we went off for the phone. I didn't know what was going on. So what I'd like you to do as a group, as one of you or two of you, look this up, start thinking about using the index of your APA manual is one way of doing it, or you can go to the chapter on citation, which is crediting sources, and tell me what page is going to give you the information on what needs to be changed in this citation. We'll just kind of dive in head first.
So would it be the one work by multiple authors page?
Mm-hmm.
That
What page is
sounds
that?
right.
175?
It's
Yep.
where?
175?
175 tells you some of it, yes. You'll find there's more than one page. So, but if you want to go to 177, which is kind of nice, there's a chart there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see it.
See,
Yeah,
there's a
see it?
table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and you see what it tells you. It talks about the type of citation, whether it's how many authors in each. As you see, as you go down the number of authors, it does change some of the format. Now, before we go any further, do you guys know the difference between what a parenthetical citation is or format is?
Versus,
An in-text citation.
Yes.
No. I have no idea.
Okay, so
Okay.
look at this one right here. Number 3. Actually, that's not one. Look at number 5.
Okay.
see how there are parentheses at the end of that enclose the citation? That's parenthetical. Get it? Parenthetical, parentheses.
Yeah.
And the others are in text citation.
So if you go
That makes
to
sense.
a certain page of your book, which I'm going to send you to right now, the one type of citation is when, if the examples are, let's go to page 171. Look at page 171 at the very top of the paragraph. They're talking about, they give you an example where it says, Robbins et al. 2003 suggested that the, quote, therapists in dropout cases may have inadvertently, and then it goes on and on and on, unquote, and then you notice there is a page, a parentheses with a page number, okay? That is an in-text form. That is not parenthetical. So right now we know that this format is used anytime you say, according to the author Joseph and James. That is not parenthetical. Parenthetical is always when you give the citation without any reference to the author, and then at the very end you have the author and the date and the page numbers. That's parenthetical, and that whole citation is in parentheses. Does it make sense?
The second sample
that
down on
does.
page 171 shows a parenthetical.
Right, at the end, Purcell or Siska and Chayton.
Yeah, those are both examples of that. Does that make sense?
So would you use the parenthetical even if you quote it, like if you have quote marks around whatever you're quoting, or just when you have a sentence and then you want to quote the author, year, and page number?
Okay.
The difference there is when you do a direct quote, which is where you're doing a word-for-word quote with quotation marks, you must always include a page number. And so it could be either parenthetical or in text.
And how would you know the difference?
Because in text is when you say something like that first example. Interpreting these results, or according to Robbins et al.
Oh, got it. Okay, that makes sense.
When, on the other hand, you just make the quotation, then you put the parentheses and the author, the date, and the page number when it's a direct quote with the period after the parentheses, and that's parenthetical.
And if you didn't use, if you paraphrase that direct quote, then you would just not have the page number.
That's right. But it would still be a parenthetical quotation.
Yes. And it becomes kind of second nature to you by the end of this, well, probably in another year. And it takes a while to become second nature.
So if we're referring to the person in the sentence, then that's an in-text citation?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then if we're just saying it at the end, you know, listing who said it, then that's the parenthetical.
That's correct.
Okay.
And I think that helps to understand that from the very get-go, because those are the two forms of citation that you'll be using predominantly in your discussions. If you say, some of you said according to such and such, then that's an in-text. And then if you say, you just start your quote with nursing, the essentials of nursing are blah, 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 and then your cite author, date, page number, that is your parenthetical. If you know that, that helps you in getting this right from the beginning.
Oh, I want to see that bigger. Okay, so the assignment is that the yellow, you have to put the page in the APA book that you found the citation, right? And then you have to correct the green part. So let's look what we looked at, page 177 for the table, right?
Yes.
So we will write in here 177. Now, if you look at the examples, what needs to be changed? Is this a in-text citation or a parenthetical citation?
In
In text.
It's going to be in text, right? Because it gives the authors and says they discuss the value of encouraging. So it's in text, right? But
Yeah.
what is wrong with that reference, that citation?
It's supposed to have et al, so just one person's name et al, since there's 3 authors.
Okay, except for the first citation in the text has
Yes.
to list all of the authors.
Right.
The first
Isn't the
time,
date in parentheses?
no, the first time that you use a citation, if you look at the table on page 177, there's columns. It says type of citation, first citation in text. It's one work by 3 authors. You list all of the authors. Do you see that?
Oh,
Bradley?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so
The year needs to be in parentheses?
yes. So
Okay.
do we have an ampersand or the word and there?
And.
And.
And an ampersand is used when the names are in a parentheses. If it's in
So
text,
parenthetical.
it's just the word and because it's text. So you've got the name, first name, comma, Schatzer, comma, Wolf, comma, and Harvnack. And then over here to 2010, you've got to have a parentheses, right?
Yes.
And do we need a space there?
Yes.
Yes. You always have a space after a parentheses. So look at that. We did one. We did
Woohoo!
in citation. I know, you guys are amazing, see? Okay, as you're reading down and you look at the number 1, 2, 3, 4, so we're looking at this. Where do we find this type of citation in the APA book?
This is the Liller and Liller. Citation 2.
2.
Oh my God, somebody's dying.
Bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, looking at that citation, what type of citation is it? Is it parenthetical or in text?
In text.
Is it
I would say parenthetical because it's
Or-
not saying,
Go ahead. What were you saying?
well, I would say parenthetical, right? Because it's not saying, like, as per blah, blah, blah.
Okay,
Am I
look
wrong?
at- yes,
I
and then
think
are
that-
there parentheses?
That's correct. It's parenthetical.
Parenthetical. So that
Okay.
that'll after a while you'd be like, oh yeah, totally that's what it is. So have we found a page? Maggie gave it to us actually. There's a reference there on it.
1.
Page 1? No.
Well, and it's
It's page one.
quotation, right?
Hold on. Isn't it 171?
Yes, we had a reference just almost exactly like this. It wasn't a list, but it was a
But it's-
parenthetical citation after a quotation. So can we put 171 there? Oh, whoops, I don't know where.
Oh.
it went.
How about what about 177? Would that help us?
Let me
Yeah,
look.
because it then tells us how to do it. But 171 has the
Example.
the parenthetical. It has an example. You can figure it out from the table, But if you need to see an example, so I think I would take a 171
Okay, that's good.
and 177, either one. So if we look at that in green, the citation, what can we tell right off needs to be changed?
Needs to have an ampersand.
Okay, because it's in parentheses.
Yeah.
What else does it need?
The page needs a P period instead of writing out the page.
Correct.
Correct.
Good.
And then
Does it matter if it's a capital P or a lowercase p?
Needs to be
Lowercase.
a lowercase p.
Okay.
Oh, that's where that went.
All right, that's good, guys.
Now, do we know names for these two? First names? Do we put those there or do we worry about it over here? We don't ever put initials here, right?
or
Right,
does
we
it
don't,
have it in the example?
we don't have them. What if
Well-
we did? What if it was Liller K and Liller A?
That should
What-
go on the reference page, right?
Right,
Beg your pardon?
right. And you notice, is the period where it's supposed to be at the end? Or does it go here at the end of the quotation marks?
No, it's at the end.
Very good, yes.
You guys are awesome.
Okay, are you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay, number 3. We have got an in-text or a parenthetical.
In text.
In text.
Okay, so where do we find, what page do we find this on?
Same.
Same?
Yeah, the 171.
77.
77.
How
Oh,
about
could you do either?
either or.
Because I like looking at 71 because it shows the example.
Okay,
Right.
so the answers are not always just in one spot, and so that's a good, to see it out, it really helps sometimes, written out. Okay, so what's missing then in the green?
Parentheses.
So we need one before
Yep.
And after.
and after.
And your page needs to be changed. And you need a space in between 2010 and the page number. And it needs to be a little p.
So if we
Good.
do this,
Good. Do we ever use PP?
and the answer is yes, but do you know when we would use it?
Is that
Is
used
it
when
for
there's more
multiple?
than one page?
When there's more than one page, yeah. If it was on pages 17 to 19, then it'd be PP 17-19.
Right.
Okay. You got that? Any questions on that?
No, that's good.
Awesome. Okay, where do we find the next one? And is this parenthetical or in text?
Parenthetical.
Is it supposed to be parenthetical?
I think this would be in text because it's referring to Fabian also spoke. So it would be
Yeah.
in text.
So let's find what page this example might be on. Can it be found on a pages we've already looked at?
177?
Yeah, 177 again.
And it's also written out on 171
71. Yeah, at the top.
at the very top. Except for there's not an at all because this is the first time Fabian's been used and he's the only author's name. So we go here again. Now, what do we do with Fabian 2001? How should that look?
No parentheses.
The date should be the only thing in parentheses.
So we take this one away and go over to here. So we'll do a space and a 2000. Oh, that's too much. There we go. 2001. So what do you think about that? Learning already?
So that means that the only thing in parentheses with an in text like this is the year 2001.
Correct.
Where would, if we did have a direct quote, where would the page number go?
After
Look at
the,
After the,
Look at this then. Say this was the direct quote. Right here. It ends right here. So then,
wouldn't it go at the end?
Yes. Yes, the page number goes at the end. Is it in parentheses? Look at your example on 171. The first
Yes.
example.
It is.
Exactly.
Does it ever not have a parentheses?
if
When it's a page number at the end,
the number will always be in a parentheses and a year will always be, but you wouldn't have to have a page number if you paraphrase it and don't directly quote it.
then you don't need the page number. That's right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, one thing we want you to look at as you get familiar with this is you'll notice the grading rubric on your discussion questions takes off points if you have a large amount of your posting is a quote. So not only do you have to, we're teaching you how to do citations, but we want you to be able to read what someone else has said and paraphrase it. So put it into your own words.
Okay.
Number 5.
One other thing, Lisa, the short quotes can be very effective, but when you get to over a third of your discussion as a quotation, you're probably quoting too much.
That's a good distinction. A third or more is too much. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Maggie. Citation
Welcome.
number 5. Where can we find the reference to that in the APA manual?
same pages, 171.
Same pages. Yeah.
177.
So those might become some familiar or much loved used pages in your book.
Yes, mine have fallen out of my book.
I know. I spiral bind mine. I buy the spiral bind.
What a good idea. Literally falling apart.
Yep. Okay, so Roberts and Goss, what is wrong with this picture?
Change the and.
And
Thank you, Tina.
And the 2009 shouldn't have like that separate parentheses, just a comma
Okay, where does the comma go?
after
after
Goss.
gross.
Right there.
Yep.
Okay,
And space.
what do y'all think? Does that look good?
Yep.
Wonderful.
And when we turn this in, do we need to have like both page numbers, or do we just put like what page we found most helpful for us?
You can have just one. I'm just showing it because some people said they liked the example of it out in the text and other people preferred the table. I always use the table, but if you are the one that liked how it was written on 171, then that's what you should go to.
Well, and there are several other examples from about 171 through about 173. They give you a number of different examples, including when you're citing a paragraph. If it doesn't have a page number, you do a paragraph, a PARA dot, and then the number. So it just gives you a number of different examples. But really, when you get to the in-text versus the parenthetical in your mind, it makes it so much easier. Oh.
Okay, Maggie, do you want to talk about this first reference? Or first, does anybody have any questions so far?
Yeah, let's go there first.
And I had a question. So for citation 5, the reason why we didn't add a page number was because we were paraphrasing, or because you just didn't include the page number?
No, we're paraphrasing.
Yeah,
We're paraphrasing.
you're paraphrasing, and that means you're taking what they've said and putting it into your own words.
Oh, because the citation 2 and citation 3 had quote marks. That's why we knew it was a quote.
Exactly.
Direct.
Exactly.
Yes.
And if
I
you
might
have a direct quotation marks, you have to insert a page number.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say to you is you will see in the literature where people will do a parenthetical citation when they paraphrase, just so you know where in the reference to find, in which reference to find it in. So they may not, even though it's not a direct quote, and of course you don't need the page numbers, they still cite it so you know where to find it. And when you're doing your discussion questions, one of the reasons this is important, besides the whole issue of plagiarism, is that then we know what literature you use to support your discussion. So it makes your discussion more scholarly and more rational and understandable. It shows your critical thinking and your application of the literature. So that's why it's so important, because these discussion questions are how you guys show us that you're meeting the course outcomes and the learning outcomes. So that's how we see how we're doing.
It's like learning to walk. You fall down and it's painful, and it takes a while. And I just did a whole long bunch of citations in a dissertation, and oh my gosh, I was so grateful for this APA manual, because I would never have been able to do it without the guidance. But all of my schooling made a very dog-eared copy of this. So do you like this? Do you want me to put this into one column, Maggie?
What's that?
This right here now. Okay, so now we're on to references.
Okay, and you know, we just made a mistake, and we shouldn't have done all of the citations because it's being recorded. But oh well, we won't do that.
I don't know.
We'll just do 3 of the references and then stop the recording. Okay. All right, so if we go to the references, and I'm going to kind of read from my cheat sheet here, because I've had these references for a while. The first reference we have, now first of all, I want you to notice that APA format wants your references centered. So when you do your discussion questions and you put references, it should be centered like that. Now, one of the problems some of you are having is, you'll see in a minute with references, that we do hanging indexes. And sometimes when you're trying to put your papers into Canvas, that format falls apart. Lisa, do you have any ideas of how to prevent that?
I was going to talk with Mandy about that, but if they have downloaded a Word document, then what we do is, there's differences when it gets imported into Canvas. If I just open your original document in another tab, and it comes up in Word, and it should be all aligned very nicely. So I can see if you've done it.
Okay, so maybe we should send out an announcement to all 4 sections when that gets clarified.
Right.
What I have done as a reaction to this is basically not taken off for the indexing, because it's been an issue with formatting, and everybody's having their moments with that. So once we have that understood better, or I do, then our students can begin to do that. But they were worried about it. They were worried about their formatting. Okay. So I'm glad you're talking to Mandy. That's great. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
So the first reference we have is in green is Fabian, comma, N, dot, parentheses, 2001, dot, the importance of writing well, dot, Journal of Environmental Health, comma, 64, parentheses, 7, 70, comma, 74, period. So, where in your APA manual can you find the formatting? So this is a, what is this? Is this a book, a journal? What is it?
Journal.
It's a journal.
So we want to look for reference examples regarding journals. So can you can look it up in the index if you want, or you can do the chapter on reference examples and look at examples by type. And of course, the first thing coming up will be on page 198, examples by type, periodicals. Okay? Can you all find that?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So when they do this, they tell you, first of all, at the very beginning here, the 7.01 under periodicals, they give you a kind of a template of how the reference should be. So if you look at that, it says author AA, author BB, and then the title of the article, the title of the periodical. If you read that information, it will remind you of what's expected. But I, like a lot of you, like to look at examples also. And if you want an example of a, we're going to do journal articles now. We're not going to get into the identifier right now. So if you look, can you find an example of a reference under the journal articles here that looks like it matches what we're looking at?
Is it on page 199, journal article without DOI?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So looking at it, that example then, what do you see wrong with this first reference? Now those both have two authors, and this really is just one author, so that's the main difference from the beginning.
The journal should be italicized. The
Okay,
name of the journal.
that's correct. That's one thing. And what else do you see?
I can't see if the screen is kind of small, but after Fabian N, is there a comma or a period? I believe it should be a period.
That is correct.
It is a period, correct.
What about the title? What's going on with the title?
So the only thing that needs to be capitalized in the title would be the first word.
That's right, Lynn. That's right. First word of the title is the only word capitalized. So writing well should not have capitalization in it. Okay, what is this 64 parentheses 7? What does that refer to?
Is that the journal number?
Number and what else?
And the volume.
Of the issue.
Issue. Yeah, either one.
So which is which? Which one is in italics?
The journal.
Okay.
The first number, so 64.
Correct. And the other one is
Regular.
Now what about this 70, comma 74?
Is that page number?
Yeah. And
Well,
this
is it
is,
on page 70 or 74, or is it 70 through 74?
that's a good question, and that's not clear in how it's written, and it makes a difference, because if you look at your examples, if it's on page 70 through 74, you would have 70-74. And if it's 70 and 74, then it would be a 70, comma 74. And you'll notice in references we don't do page, we don't do the P period. It's just understood that this is the correct format. Sort of like in science, it's the convention. I always like that. It's sort of like, well, why is that? Well, it's a convention. It's sort of like, well, why is that? Well, it's a mystery. Anyhow, it's the convention. So yeah, you got that one. So, and you got that from page 199.
99.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions about that?
No.
All right. We ready to go to the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This one, does somebody else want to take it? The Liller and Liller.
So that's two authors. So that's the same page. Oh, that's not asking for it. Oh, wait.
Why did that do that?
So don't you do Liller, comma, K dot, I meant K period, D period,
Yes.
comma,
Mhm.
and then Liller.
Is it an and?
comma.
Is it an and?
No,
And or-
Is that what you have right now?
Okay. That's the ampersand.
And then you do Liller,
Mhm.
comma, then D period, A period, and
Period.
the here. Yeah, that's good.
Let's stop a minute. Would you ever change the order of those authors?
Shouldn't
know.
the D, A be first for alphabetical order?
Yeah, and we don't do alphabetical order. Why not?
I don't know. I don't know either.
Published authors are listed first to the person that gave the most to the publish
The paper.
the
Yeah.
paper. Sorry, I was going to try
Oh,
publication.
okay. So it's not by alphabetical order at all. It's by like whoever did the most work, basically.
Yeah, that's the most common practice now. It used to be they were in alphabetical order, and then we began to see that the primary or principal author is the one that does the most work, and that person is listed first regardless of the alphabet. So I just wanted to caution you to not be changing the order of authors to alphabetize them, because it's there for a reason, and it honors the person who's done the most work.
That's nice.
Awesome. Thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah. So what about the title in this one?
So isn't that right? Because the is the only one that's supposed to be capitalized.
Correct. And this has to do with subtitles. So not only is the first word of the title capitalized, but then the subtitle, the first word of the subtitle, is also the only other word capitalized. Okay?
And it's preceded by the colon.
Yes, that's correct. And then what about the journal title?
It should be italicized.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, anything else you see in this one?
Is there a period after, I'm sorry, it's small. Is there a period after 13? Because there shouldn't be.
Yeah. There shouldn't be anything after 13. That's exactly right. It should be 13 parentheses 1 parentheses. Okay. All right. Anything else anybody sees?
And that was on page 199 if you wanted to add that.
Okay.
There we go.
Excellent. All right. So we now have, we've done 1, 2, we have 1, 2, 3 more. Shall we do one more reference and then do the rest after we stop the recording? Or should we stop now?
I'm going to stop it now.